But first, there's a new government in Canberra, and as Australians, we've all got to wish Anthony Albanese and his team well, even if we didn't vote for them, and 2/3 of us did not, because we can't say we believe in democracy and then pretend we don't when the result doesn't go our way. The fact that we can change the government as we did on Saturday night, and unlike many other nations around the world, that it happened without bloodshed or strife, and that we all accept the result, however begrudgingly for some of us, is something we should never take for granted. And even though I didn't vote for them, the better Labor is, the better government it will be, well, the stronger and better for our country. After 9 years out of office, naturally, there's euphoria on the Labor side. And among the almost 2/3 who voted against the Morrison government, that's the 1/3 who voted for Labor, and the record 1/3 who voted for the other players, well, they're satisfied with themselves at the departure of Scott Morrison. To think that the other vote was just left-leaning Green supporters, either activist Greens or this new breed of rich teal Greens, is wrong. Amongst that vote were quite a few former Liberal supporters who felt that under Scott Morrison, the Liberals had lost their way. As Anthony Albanese was sworn in today, it's worth acknowledging that he's assuming power at a difficult time. But Australian voters were warned this is a time when inflation's galloping, government finances are strained, and global supply chains are disrupted. They were warned too that the Ukraine war is unlikely to end anytime soon, that the communist government in Beijing is stalking our region, and that the relative decline of the United States under Joe Biden continues to be a concern. They were warned. They saw his very ordinary grasp of the detail in the 6-week campaign, yet he's got over the line in what would appear to be tonight a 1 or 2 seat Labor majority government. Now, the new Prime Minister thinks that faster action on climate change will boost the economy, and that constitutional entrenchment of an Indigenous voice to the Parliament will help unite Australians. Good luck with that. Wiser heads know it will be anything but a unifying moment. While we have to respect the electorate's verdict, it's actually a pretty confusing one. And with the new PM jetting off to Japan today for meetings, we've got a new government, but hardly any ministers. As yet, they're not sworn in, not even chosen, because the Labor leader doesn't get to choose his front bench. The factions do. So it's been a confusing workday, day one, to say the least. Now, that said, the coalition can't assume that as Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese will be as inept as he was in his campaign. He won't be, and I'll have more to say on why in just a moment. In numeric terms, the coalition's primary vote was 3 percentage points higher than Labor's. And the broader vote on the right, that's the coalition plus One Nation and Palmer, was a touch higher than the total vote for Labor and the Greens. So what we got and what the people really wanted may not actually be the same. But where we are, given the preference system in this country, is what we accept tonight. And while defeated and a bit demoralised, there's at least a base out there for the coalition to come back from. Post-election, the focus has been all on these teals eating into the Liberal vote, but both parties have a problem with changing allegiances, as shown by the loss of both Labor and Liberal seats to the Greens. But if you drill into the detail, as I've been doing pretty much non-stop since the polls closed on Saturday, the Liberals especially have had some chronic weaknesses glaringly exposed, especially weaknesses where the state divisions of the Liberal Party have been bullied into political correctness and gone woke. It's been rife right across the country, and it's what contributed in large measure to the chaos of this weekend's result. Again, I'll have more to say on that detail a bit later in the show, and a topic close to my own heart, the Liberal Party and its so-called issue with women. I'll say more about that too. I've got plenty of data to show you, but the bottom line is you don't become a more effective political operation by selling out your principles, whether it's respect for talent, regardless of gender, or focus on cost of living, because that's what most voters actually worry about far more than emissions in the seats that make or break government, where monthly bills are a juggling act and where overseas holidays are a luxury, not routine. What this election has done is highlight how more affluent areas across the country are increasingly voting left, while Struggle Street, as my good mate Alan Jones would call them, is increasingly inclined to vote right, meaning the forgotten people of Menzies are now living on the fringes of our cities, more concerned with what's taught in schools than the old school tie, more concerned with their mortgage than the Mercedes, and looking to those in power to take their troubles seriously, be it the unaffordable rise in their power bills or the fact they're getting too scared to speak their mind. Whoever can best manage these long-term issues for these people, well, that's the party that will dominate the future.